Okay. Girls, do I look good? Like, is my neck covered? Okay. I think I look fine. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nadya. This is the From Nadya to You podcast. And I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm excited because this is my very first video or podcast if you're listening audibly. If you see this little thing right here, it's just catching all the good stuff, okay? Don't worry about it. Ignore it, actually. But yeah, I've been wanting to do this for the longest time, probably since I was like 13, 14 years old, but I never started for so many reasons. Like, one big reason is like, you know, those kids that had their own little YouTube channels in high school and they were getting bullied? Girl, I was already getting bullied. I was not trying to get bullied on top of the bully. I would make like little videos here and there, but I always found something wrong with it, bro. Like, either like the video wasn't good enough, I didn't know how to edit the video, or I was just like, my video does not compare to all these other YouTubers that have been doing this for years, by the way, but it doesn't compare to all these other YouTubers that are putting out content like it feels like every day, damn near. So yeah, I just always found a way to stop myself I always doubted myself. Yeah, those feelings that I had as a kid definitely have a little bit to do with what I want to talk to you about today, which is imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome is a psychological occurrence in which a person doubts their abilities. That's a very surface level, like psychological, like definition. We're definitely going to get into that. But first, I definitely do just want to take the time to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to watch me, to listen to me. It means a lot. Um, oh my gosh, can you tell I'm like so nervous and I don't know what to do with my hands and I don't know how to move and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to ask that you give me grace because I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm asking that of myself as well because I can be hard on myself sometimes. This is all very unfamiliar to me. So I'm just going to ask that you give me time and that I give myself time to become accustomed to this kind of thing. I obviously I have an idea of what I want to do, but ideas can change and things can change. The idea that I have for this podcast is not to be, I don't even want it to be like a podcast. Like, I want this to be more so, I want it to feel like a conversation between me and you, or start a conversation between you and a friend, or for you to start a conversation between you and God. And I feel like the most important relationship that you will have in this life is the one that you have with yourself. And I feel like we as a society do not talk about that relationship enough. We are always so focused on external relationships. We're always talking about like, oh, like I wish I had a girl group to like go out with, or I wish I had a boyfriend or girlfriend to do this and that with. But like, the relationship that you have with yourself is going to determine whether you succeed or fail in this life. So yeah, that's what I want this podcast to be, to focus on. And I just feel like self-reflection is the most important thing. Whether that be self-reflecting in a journal, whether that be you seeing the reflection between you and a friend, because the people that you have around you are reflections of you. Anyway, whole different topic. Don't want to get into it right now, but yeah, just to give you a synopsis, that's my goal here, okay? And if that sounds like that's for you, stay tuned. I don't want to give like self-help vibes either. I want it to just be, we're just talking. We're just girls. We're talking right now. We're in a coffee shop. We're catching up, okay? So imposter syndrome is when you feel like incompetent at whatever it is that you're trying to do or accomplish, and maybe you even feel like you deceive the people around you to get to where you are. Like, it feels like you don't deserve that thing and you're getting so much praise that it's like, but I didn't do anything, right? And that might cause you to feel shame. You might self-isolate. You might seek approval from others, and all of that will lead to you like not accomplishing your goals, not accomplishing the things that you wanted to accomplish. So there was a time in my life where I would go out often. I would party often, and I would do all those things with this particular friend. When I was out with this particular friend, we were always dressed to the nines, okay? Like makeup, unclockable hair, tea. Like, you cannot catch us slipping. Hello. But at those times, like, of course we look good. Of course we were getting approached by men. However, and I don't say this to sound like, bleh, but it's just the truth. I would get approached more than my friend would. And that's not even something to boast about, because these men were the ultimate bums, like bums to the 10th degree, okay? But to my friend at the time, it felt like competition. And this friend never said anything overtly harmful or overtly hurtful. I could just sense the energy. Because I was getting approached more, this friend felt like they had to compete with me. Why? Wallahi, I don't know. But because this person felt like they had to compete with me, it made them feel insecure because they felt like they couldn't compete with me. Wallahi, I don't know. But because they felt insecure, they projected it onto me. And what I felt from their projection was anger, jealousy. I felt like I was being belittled because this person would always make small comments that, those comments that someone makes about you that's kind of like, you can't clock it because it's not like overtly, but it's like, why would you say that? Like, it was those kinds of comments. And so because this person projected their insecurity onto me, I felt shame. Shame is not a comfortable feeling. So in order for me to get rid of the feeling of shame, I did whatever I could to make this friend feel better about themselves. Even if that meant putting myself down. I would talk down to myself and say, maybe I'm not that pretty, or acknowledging the small comments that she would say and absorb it and take it personally. I started to think, maybe I'm not that pretty. Maybe they are only approaching me because they want to sleep with me. Maybe I'm not that great of a conversationalist. And I would repeat those things to myself over and over and over. And I would relay that information in my mind to her to make her feel more comfortable over and over and over. And over time, I started to believe those things. And honestly, even if those men were approaching me because I was pretty, okay, like, what do you want me to do? Not be pretty? Like, this is who I am, right? You cannot take everyone's external perspective of you and allow it to create your thoughts, because your thoughts become your reality. Your reality is your life. That is who you are. That is who you become. Again, even if they were only approaching me because they thought it was pretty, everyone was born with some kind of privilege, okay? And of course, I feel that it is important to use your privilege for the good of others, but also you would be a fool not to use that privilege to your own benefit. Like, if that privilege opens doors for you in your life, well, not everyone has the same privilege as me, so I don't think it's fair for me to take this opportunity, huh? What are we talking about? But hey, if you want to fail in this life, be my personal guest. I see this life is already way too hard. I'm not going to make it more difficult on myself, and I will be taking every single opportunity to succeed. Okay? That's just me. I think a more common and relatable example is like when you get a new job, right? When you go into that interview, you probably dress the best you've ever dressed. You've brought in your resume. Some of those things are probably lies. You've added those character traits on your resume you know isn't true. Maybe you added a job or two. Maybe you added a degree or two. Stuck for the law. You probably exaggerated a little bit. You know you did. But you got the job, right? And you're happy you got the job. But once you start, you realize there's so many new things that you have to learn. And there's so many new things and so many new rules you have to become accustomed to that you get so overwhelmed and you're like, I can't do this. And you start thinking about, should I quit? Like, maybe this is not the right fit for me. But girl, they hired you. They didn't just hire you for no reason. They didn't just interview you for no reason. And the people that hired you are at a higher level of understanding of the material that you're working so hard to understand, right? If someone with a higher skill level than you looked at you and said, yeah, she's a good fit for the job, would that simple observation not make you feel honored? It's like when somebody that you know that's super, super smart, like extremely intelligent, looks at you and calls you intelligent. You're like, oh, me? Intelligent? Like, and that's how you should feel about that job. It's you are so much more capable than you can even conceptualize that you are. So again, take advantage of this opportunity and run with it. Don't allow the overwhelming amount of material and information overtake your mind to make you feel so shameful that you feel like you're not good enough for this, and so you give up. Go back to that resume. Look at those traits that you listed about yourself and become those things. Something more personally that I've been dealing with is I recently just became Muslim, probably like not even 2 months ago, girl. It's not been that long. And I put my hijab on not too long after, and I've honestly felt like I've been cosplaying as a Muslim ever since. Mostly because it's so new to me, and when you're experiencing something new, it doesn't feel like you're being yourself. It doesn't feel like you're being honest with yourself. When you're starting a new routine or habit or lifestyle, it feels like you're being dishonest with yourself because it's not what you're familiar with. It's not what your body is. It's not what your body or your mind is even used to. So because it feels so foreign to you, you feel like how I feel. I feel like I'm cosplaying, and the Muslims that I've seen are like reciting multiple surahs, the chapters in the Quran, like no problem. And I'm like, I can barely say my salat by myself. I can barely say the prayer by myself. Or like when I'm out in public, I'm obviously visibly Muslim. So other Muslims look at me and be like, oh, assalamu alaikum. And I'm like, because in my head, I'm like, I want to say the salams perfectly. I don't want to be like, assalamu alaikum. And I'm so worried about saying it perfectly that I'm like, oh, and then I just walk away. Also, Muslims aren't portrayed in the most positive light in the media. And so it's very important that because the people that I meet, I'm probably one of the few Muslims that they know or have ever met in their life. And so it kind of puts this pressure on you, or maybe it's a pressure that I put on myself, to be perfect, or like I have to be so careful of what I say or how I portray myself because it's wrong, but they're going to think like, oh, this is how Muslims are. Like, this is how they act, you know? Or like when I go to the masjid, which is the mosque, I just assume that everybody there is born Muslim or just have been Muslims way longer than I have, and that everybody there knows that I'm not really Muslim, and that like because I'm not doing everything correctly, like, oh, she's new, like she's whatever. And I feel like everyone is staring at me. On top of that, like the masjids that I've been to aren't really the most diverse. And so I'm already feeling othered, and it's like othering on top of othering. But nobody's making me feel any kind of way. This is just like my anxiety overtaking my thoughts. And even though I logically know that's not true, my anxiety is so familiar to me that it's comfortable. Those thoughts for me are comfortable. But I can't allow myself to become so connected and familiar with my anxiety that I become disconnected and unfamiliar with myself. I become so disconnected to who I want to be. Someone or something or an experience causes you to feel shame. That shame causes you to self-isolate, whether that's physically, emotionally, psychologically. Who's going to bring you up when there's nobody else around to support you? Obviously not you. You will fail. You will fail because your brain has now fulfilled the prophecy that your anxiety has created in your mind. And then it's a cycle. And the cycle's not going to break until you stop. Bring yourself back to the logical mindset. I am not these things. I am these things. And so you really need to think about who is in your inner circle. Who do you keep around you? Because I promise you, the people that are around you are reflections of who you are. How do they react when you succeed at something or maybe get something that they wanted? Are they happy for you? Are they supportive? Do they make you feel bad? Or think about your childhood. What performance level did you have to bring yourself to in order to receive love from them, or even to receive acknowledgement from them? So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. I really hope that you did benefit from listening to this. And I hope you follow, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Let me know what you want me to talk about, or maybe something that you're struggling with. I don't ever want this podcast to be the answers to your problems, because the only person that can give you the answers to your problems is Allah. I only want this to inspire you to start a conversation with whoever, whenever, however, because I'm not perfect. I don't always want to talk about things from experience, like experiencing something, having healed from it, and then coming and talking to you about it. Some of the things I want to be currently going through those things, because I'm a human being at the end of the day. So don't expect me to ever give you an answer. Just expect to be stimulated, and I hope this podcast inspires curiosity within yourself. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please come back for next week, and yeah, you have a good day. Bye.